Hey everyone, JP here, and welcome back to another episode of Project Gaia. Today we are in San Gimignano, Italy, in the Tuscany region. Now, this is one of my most favorite destinations in the world because of its just beauty. I mean, it truly is like you died and went to heaven. It's just everywhere, it's just beautiful. It's like a painting. Now, the city doesn't have a ton of sites. The main draw of San Gimignano is going through the streets and just immersing yourself in the medieval beauty of it all. But there are some sites, so I'm going to show you those sites as well. So join me as we explore one of my most favorite cities in Italy and one of my most favorite cities in the world, San Gimignano. But first, let me show you how I got here. So I've decided to do something a little special and a little different. So I decided to hike into San Gimignano. And I did that along something called the Via Francigena. And what this is it is an ancient pilgrimage route from Rome to Canterbury Cathedral in England. I have a video on Canterbury in England. Definitely check that out because that's where this ends. And this is from the medieval era, and pilgrims used to go along this route, along Italy, through France, and eventually up to England to make their pilgrimage to Canterbury Cathedral, which is a beautiful cathedral in Kent in England. So I decided to do this because it affords you amazing views of the Italian countrysides, specifically here in Tuscany. It really is amazingly beautiful. Now, what I would do is, if you're interested in doing this, is I would look up the Via Francigena, right? So just Google it and see the different segments. It's a little hard to find, but you park like near it. There's a lot of different access points. I'll leave a link of where I accessed it. I accessed it right by this little old hotel. It was like a little castle deep in the woods. So that's where I accessed it. I recommend you do this. It is very interesting and adds kind of like a piece of drama into your entry into San Gimignano. It's kind of similar to the Camino de Santiago in Spain. So you go along it, there's pilgrims, people camp along it, and they stop at different like hostels and hotels and resorts. There's lots of different options, and you meet a lot of people, a lot of friends, and people are very friendly along it. So definitely check that out if you're interested. So one site that you can't miss in San Gimignano is Sant Agostino, or the Chiesa di Sant Agostino. So what this is an amazingly beautiful church that was consecrated in 1298. Now, if you look at the outside, it's pretty plain. It doesn't look that interesting, right? But on the inside, it's heavily decorated in the Rococo style, and it dates to about 1740. So it's extremely elaborate and beautiful inside, and has a very spiritual vibe. So definitely check this out when you're here. One more thing to note before we head inside. Now, it is early September in Italy, so it is extremely hot, and like I said, I hiked here, right? So I'm in a tank top. Obviously, you cannot go into these churches in this kind of clothing, right? So you can't show too much skin. It is a place of worship, it is a church. So what I always do is I bring something extra just in case it's hot out, so I want to wear this, and then I bring like a cover-up shirt, or like ladies, maybe like a shawl. You also can't wear hats, so just keep that in mind when you travel throughout Italy and you go to a lot of the churches, because that's a lot of what the sites are. The Chiesa di Sant Agostino is a gem of history and spirituality. Built in the late 13th century, this church was once a hub for the Augustinian order, a place where monks dedicated their lives to education and community service. As you enter, let the serene atmosphere envelop you. The stunning frescoes crafted by masters like Benozzo Gozzoli narrate tales of saints and divine grace, inviting you to reflect on their timeless messages. also check out the beautiful cloistered courtyard. This really is something amazing to see, as there are palm trees all around, and you can imagine the monks praying in here in this serene environment. It really allows you to kind of meditate on your whole experience here in San Gimignano. San Gimignano is known as the City of Beautiful Towers. Founded in the 3rd century, this medieval marvel flourished during the Middle Ages as a stop for pilgrims traveling along the Via Francigena, which we were on earlier. With its skyline adorned by 14 towering stone structures, each representing the power and wealth of noble families, San Gimignano was a symbol of prosperity and rivalry. Today, as you wander its narrow streets, you'll discover well-preserved architecture and charming piazzas, all echoing the rich history of a town that has stood the test of time. So I know Americans are really weird about water. I don't know where it started, but everyone's always having water in their hand and always worried about water bottles. But I gotta say, when you're here in San Gimignano, use the fountains, right? So everybody does it. It's perfectly clean, perfectly good water, and it cools you down on a hot day. And I'm almost done with mine because I did that hike earlier, right? So they're all over the place. So go like this. Fill it up. And you're good. So you don't have to buy water. And, you know, it's kind of cool. Like, you know, it could cool down, get some water, put on your face. I saw some dogs playing in it earlier. So definitely do this. As you wander through San Gimignano's winding streets, you'll encounter beautifully preserved stone buildings adorned with intricate frescoes and charming archways. The blend of Romanesque and Gothic styles reflects centuries of artistry and craftsmanship. Here, architecture isn't just a backdrop. It's really a living testament to a vibrant history waiting to be explored. So one of the best things to do in San Gimignano is simply walking around. I mean, the whole place is just this quaint, beautiful, open-air museum, really, with amazing architecture, literally in every direction. I mean, I'm gonna get run over here by these motorcycles from just looking up, you know what I'm saying? So it really is an amazingly beautiful place. I mean, get off the main squares and, you know, go into the little alleyways, go through the tunnels, see where it brings you. I mean, you'll find some real Italian beauty just by wandering around this amazingly beautiful city. You can't help but be inspired by the beauty and liveliness of this storybook-like medieval city. It's like you step back in time to an era of enchantment and wonder. It truly does offer you an escape from the norm. It's a place where beauty and charm meet history, a place where happiness abounds. And isn't experiencing this, after all, the reason why we travel? So a must-see here in San Gimignano is the Duomo, so the San Gimignano Duomo. So it dates back to the 1200s, so it's pulling up on 800 years. It's very beautiful and very interesting. We're at the back side of it now. The front is where all the stairs were before. I recommend when you're here in San Gimignano to get the all-inclusive pass, because it includes your tickets to all the different sites that you might want to see. And the Duomo is one site that requires a ticket. So definitely check that out while you're here. And then let's head in. The Duomo di Santa Maria Assunta is a stunning cathedral completed in the 14th century and stands as a testament to the town's artistic and spiritual heritage. The moment you step through the doors, you're transported into a world where history and art intertwine. Look up to admire the breathtaking frescoes that grace the interior, created by renowned artists like Bartolo di Freddi. These masterpieces depict scenes from the Last Judgment and the life of the Virgin Mary, inviting you to reflect on the themes of faith and redemption. The Duomo also houses a beautiful altar and a captivating wooden ceiling, each element meticulously crafted, showcasing the artistry of the era. The atmosphere is filled with reverence, making it a perfect place for contemplation amidst the vibrant energy of the town right outside. As you explore, remember that this cathedral is not just a building, it's a living piece of history, a reflection of the community's devotion and artistic spirit. The Duomo di Santa Maria Assunta is truly a crown jewel of San Gimignano, inviting all who visit to connect with its rich past and timeless beauty. Right next to the Duomo, also check out the Museum of Sacred Art. This museum is housed in the former convent of Sant Agostino, and it showcases a stunning collection of sacred artifacts, including beautifully crafted altar pieces and ornate liturgical objects. As you wander through its halls, you'll discover masterpieces by renowned artists like Filippino Lippi, capturing the essence of faith and devotion. Each piece tells a story, reflecting the town's rich religious history and artistic legacy. This museum is not just a journey through art, it's a profound exploration of the spiritual life that has shaped San Gimignano for centuries. One thing that you're going to notice all throughout San Gimignano are these fascinating medieval wells. So you'll see these all throughout the city. And if you really think about the history, we're in a city, right? A medieval city. If you lived in the countryside, you would get your drinking water, cooking water, bathing water from like a river, right? But the cities didn't have access to rivers that easily, or ponds or streams, right? So most cities had a well just like this one. So you will see that all over the city. And what I think is fascinating about it is it really illustrates a time before indoor plumbing. I mean, we couldn't even imagine it, right? So take a look at the wells. They're really interesting. They're caged off so you can't fall in or anything, but you can see all the way down them. So definitely look at those when you're around the city. So another must-do when you're here in San Gimignano is to see the tower. It is housed in the Musei Civici, which is mostly the tower, and there's a couple other rooms of religious art, so check that out. It's pretty interesting. But the main thing is the tower. So what you do is you climb up several hundred steps, and then once you get to the top, you have to kind of crouch your way in, bend down, and you can finally get to the top, and it affords you amazing views of San Gimignano and the surrounding Tuscan countryside. So it's really cool to see. So let's head out. The Museo Civici, housed in the town hall, offers a fascinating glimpse into the region's rich past. Explore stunning frescoes and artifacts that tell tales of medieval life, from civic pride to cultural achievements. Like the other destinations, you can really see how important religious devotion was to the lives of medieval Italians. Next, it's time to climb your way to the top of the tower. I'm telling you, the views are worth it. Here you can enjoy breathtaking panoramic views of the rolling Tuscan landscape and really reflect on your big journey to this amazing medieval city. So right now we're in the main plaza. This is Piazza Della Cisterna, right? It's really cool. There's lots of restaurants, lots of people. Too many people. I mean, there's tourists everywhere. But a lot of these tourists come from Florence for a day trip. So they're usually out by like 4 or 5 because they only get like an hour here and then they have to head back to Florence. But I don't know, it keeps it alive. You know, this is a tourism channel. I don't not like tourists, but sometimes it kind of ruins the vibe a little bit. So if you want this all to yourself, come a little earlier. Make sure you wander through the Piazza della Cisterna and other surrounding piazzas to soak it all in, the sights, the sounds, the smells of beautiful San Gimignano. Sit down at a cafe and just take it all in. Also, check out the 2 gelaterias who both claim to have the best gelato in the world. We'll come here later once the lines have died down a bit to see if it really lives up to all the hype. So San Gimignano is known for its little restaurants. You've seen them all over the place. I like to find ones off the plaza or the piazza and more kind of on the side. They're a little quieter, a little bit more intimate. And what I got was a little snack, like a lunch snack. I got buffalo mozzarella cheese with prosciutto, very good, and a glass of Chianti Classico, which is from this region, so it's really the best you can get. So do this when you get here. It's really worth it. Like, it's a good snack before dinner, so maybe around 2 or 3, and then have like a larger dinner maybe around 7 or 8. So one thing that you have to check out when you're here in San Gimignano, which is a little off the normal tourist path, is Rocca di Montestaffoli, which is where we are now. So what this is a 14th century fortress or castle. And they repurposed the space. It's kind of like a public garden now. But what's cool about it is you can go on top of some of the old towers and you get fantastic views of San Gimignano and the countryside. And it's cool because you're walking along these, 700-year-old fortress walls. It's very cool. And if you like medieval history, which I'm assuming you do if you're watching this video on this channel, you're going to love this. So take a look at this. See this slit in the wall? This is specifically designed to shoot a bow and arrow at an enemy, right? So this is a defensive castle, right? You got to think it's militaristic, right? Now it's like a beautiful park where people are hanging out and taking Instagram photos, but it was something that was used to defend the city, right? So you will see this a lot in other medieval cities with medieval castles and walls. You will see these slits, right? Because you don't want a big square window to look out of, right? You want just something small that you can view out into the countryside, and if the enemy is coming to attack, you can simply put your bow out, shoot, and it'll go straight through. One of the lesser-known prime vantage points in San Gimignano is on top of the Rocca di Montestaffoli. Here you can get excellent views of the city and surrounding Tuscan countryside. Just don't disrupt any lovers up here like I did. A lot of people, specifically day trippers from Florence, fail to wander outside the main piazzas of the city, and you can't blame them as they are cramped on time. However, doing this makes you miss out on a wonderful assortment of medieval stone-crafted architecture littered throughout the city's outskirts. Also, you miss the captivating Tuscan beauty that literally hugs the city in all directions, so make sure you step outside the main center if you can. Also, make sure you step into some of the city's unique stores, boutiques, and art galleries. Maybe pick up an authentic Italian puppet for those Pinocchio lovers out there. Or, and I highly recommend this, step into one of the city's truffle shops. Truffle is by far one of the tastiest condiments that I have ever had. And these stores are all around the city, so take some home with you. So what have we been seeing all day? People walking around, tourism, people getting dinner, lunch, gelato, dogs, you know, just a full range of happy activities, right? But what we mustn't forget is that this city is a medieval city, so it has a much darker past than what you're seeing now, right? It's kind of become a tourist explosion for its beauty, but there were times when it wasn't beautiful, right? So there are two museums here that focus on San Gimignano's darker past, right? So that's where you come to the Torture Museum and the Witchcraft Museum. So you go in there and you can learn all about how torture existed in the medieval world, right? And there are artifacts, real ones, that were found all around here that were actually used on people. So let's take a look. Step into a macabre world of San Gimignano's Torture Museum and Witchcraft Museum. These two museums help you to understand the various forms of torture and witchcraft that permeated the highly superstitious medieval world. Though some of these images look gory and even somewhat humorous, both museums help to tell the story of the dark side of San Gimignano and other European medieval cities. Think to yourself about how living in a world with such cruel and unusual punishment affected the society and how it enforced the strict teachings and beliefs of the medieval Catholic Church. Also, see the city's small but interesting Archaeology Museum. This museum showcases various artifacts that were found in and around San Gimignano from the ancient world. It's interesting because often when there's a new construction build, they find various Etruscan and Roman artifacts beneath the very streets you are wandering. So one site that you want to see that's a little off the beaten path is the Fontana medievale, which means medieval fountain. And what this is a fountain that's over 1,000 years old. And it's really cool to see, and it's like under the city. You gotta walk out a little bit, so get a map and see where it is, but it's just amazingly beautiful, and it's just this old fountain that has been running for 1,000 years.
The medieval fountain is on the outskirts of town, and here you can wander through the surrounding countryside. Unlike in the USA, there are not miles of suburbs between the end of the city and the countryside. It just sort of pops up. So here you can wander through the vineyards and orchards and take in the sights and smells of the surreal Tuscan landscape. Medieval heads are going to absolutely love the stores in San Gimignano, as they cater to this audience. Step into one of them and pick yourself up something interesting, so that you always remember your big adventure to one of the most medieval cities in the world. For dinner, I recommend you check out Osteria Quattro Gatti, which means 4 cats. This restaurant has some of the most delicious food in the city and is built above a ruin. Try to sit on the patio as it affords you amazing views of the city and Tuscan countryside. I had their amazing truffle pasta as well as sumptuous octopus, all washed down with a glass or two of local Chianti.
Okay, so I went to Gelateria Dondoli late, right after all the tourists left, and I got an amazing gelato. This is called stracciatella. You don't find this a lot. It's hard to find in America. You might find it in areas where there's a big Italian population in the United States, but it's hard to find. But it is very good. So definitely try this flavor when you're here. Okay guys, this was San Gimignano. Now I had a wonderful time showing you guys one of the most medieval cities in the world, and for sure in Italy, and one of my most favorite destinations in the world. Listen guys, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, share this video, and leave a comment below. I get back to all my comments sooner or later. And let me know what you think of San Gimignano, or if you have any suggestions for other travelers. We would love to hear it. Okay guys, until next time, take care. Bye.